Do you tend to be a kind person that's always serving others? Have you experienced a religiously destructive relationship or an emotionally destructive relationship? Hi, I'm Tara. I've been there too. And this podcast is all about us living brighter and ever growing 1% at a time. Our preoccupation with our weight can be a brain cancer, a mind cancer. And we're in a society that is so focused on social media and thinness. And all of us, I would say the majority of us, have had struggles in this area, whether we're trying to lose weight or gain weight or have a healthier relationship with ourselves and our weight. Most of us have struggled in different ways, and I'm sorry for that because I can relate. So let's have a chat. Let's talk about this. I want to start off with 3 myths. So the first myth that I feel like our society just kind of believes is that thin people are healthy. And that is just not true. I mean, not true across the board. I have, I know people that have gotten to be very thin, and it ended up being because of cancer and has nothing to do with healthy. I also, my first job out of college was a personal trainer. And so I would take fat measurements and through electrodes. And I was very surprised because I'd get these thin looking people that would measure way over fat than somebody else that looked heavier, but they had more muscle. And so these thinner people had way decrease of muscle mass and way increase of fat. So thinness does not equal health. I also know thin people that eat very unhealthy and very poorly, and it does not equal health in that way. So it is just a myth that thin people are healthy. And I will say there are a lot of thin people that are healthy, but it's a myth that it equals health. The next myth is we just need to eat less and exercise more and we'll lose weight. So, yes, there's a lot to that, but there's also some things that isn't true. That is a myth that is completely true across the board. I know some people that actually have to increase their eating to lose weight. They have to increase their protein, they have to increase their fat, or they have to increase their vegetable, however it is, increase their food in order to lose weight. I also know people that they'll exercise a lot and they won't lose weight because they're stressed all the time, and the exercise just increases their stress in their case. So there's just so much more. So eating less, exercising more does not equal losing weight. And I think we can punish ourselves a lot with that thought and be like, oh, if I just did that and did that, or if I just had more self-control, then I could lose weight. And it's much more to that. So and then the third myth is that our problem is our weight. And so I think that's very interesting because really our problem is our mind. It starts with our whole thing starts in our mind. What I mean by that is I'm 155 pounds. There was a time 20 years ago that I thought, oh my goodness, I'm so overweight. I'm so fat. I look terrible. And it was just a mind cancer. It took up a lot of space in my brain. And we'll talk about why that was a little bit later. I'm still the same weight, although, I don't feel bad about my weight. I'm grateful for my body that's gotten this far. I'm thankful that I'm strong. I mean, I've had 4 kids, so my tummy's, never going to look. And I'm good with that. I'm thankful I had 4 kids. So it's not the circumstance, which is 155 pounds, because I had that the whole time and completely lots of different thoughts about that. Some on this side, demeaning, mean, critical, obsessive. And on this side, caring, kind, understanding, but also, sometimes reaching for goals and stuff like that. It's not the circumstance, it's the thought. And so that's what I'm talking about. Our obsession with weight, whether thin or like needing to gain weight or needing to lose, whatever, is just a symptom of a mind problem. And it can turn into a cancer when it takes up more and more space in our brains. Because as it takes up more and more space in our brains, it's leaving less and less space for our intentional life, a loving life, a life living brighter. So let's talk about it. What if our weight whatever our preoccupation is, like if we're trying to gain, or we're trying to be really strict, or we're degrading ourselves, what if our weight problem is really our mind's trying to help us, trying to meet a need, and we haven't looked at it that way? So let's just consider that it's not a weight problem, it's a mind problem, and it could be there to be meeting our needs, a need that our brain thinks we have. Let's talk about that. So, some of our needs and how weight can help us is our need for protection. So, and this is, I knew a gal that was raped, and she gained weight after that and could not lose it no matter what. And when it came down to it, she had the subconscious belief that if she was heavier, she was safer, because she associated, her mind did at the time, was subconsciously associated with being thinner as being more vulnerable, and she didn't feel safe. And so no matter what and that had happened a while ago, no matter what her brain was doing now, like if she wanted to lose weight, her subconscious was like, no, that's not safe. And so it wasn't going to do that. And so her weight was protecting her. And it was also protecting her from unwanted attraction, and it was all a way to insulate her and protect her. So another one is, so it can protect us, it can distract us, because again, it can take up a lot of space in our brain, and it can keep us from thinking about other areas, or maybe areas we don't want to think about. It could keep us also from not focusing on the present, because it's constantly like, maybe if I get to this weight, then I'll be happy. Or if I do this, or if I can do that, then I'll be happy. But it keeps us from living that intentional life in the present. And so it can be a way to distract us. It's a really fabulous, food is a great way, or just even being preoccupied with the scale, or however that looks, because there's lots of great way to have cancer in our brain about our weight. It is a great way to not feel our feelings. If any of you guys have been stressed and gone for chips or gone for the candy, you know what I'm talking about, and I do it too. So eating is a way that can soothe us, and it also is a way for us not to feel our feelings. And I was joking with my husband the other day, because I had gotten these quote unquote healthy chips, and they were seaweed and sesame seed in them, and they looked really healthy, and I'm eating them, and I'm like, I can tell by the way that I'm reacting to these chips that they're not healthy, because I want to eat more and more and more. And then I looked at the ingredients, and I'm like, yeah, these healthy chips aren't very healthy because it was feeling so good. So it's a great way for us not to feel our feelings, and we can actually learn to feel our feelings and get really powerful in that, and then we don't need that to serve that purpose. But it's a great way to distract us. So it can protect us, it can distract us, and it can confirm our beliefs, which is what our mind is there for. So let's review. So the lawyer in our brain and the lifeguard in our brain. The lifeguard in our brain is the part of our brain that's trying to keep us safe at all costs. And so it's going to remind us of our failures and, this and that, and our limiting beliefs, all of that. But the whole purpose is it's really trying to keep us safe. And it doesn't need to go awry, but it often does. And the lawyer, whatever we choose to believe, it's there to confirm it for us. So whether we choose to believe like I'm a great friend, then I look at my past, I look at my present, I'm like, yeah, I'm a great friend, and I see it, I confirm it, it makes that belief deeper. And again, a belief is just a strong feeling about something. It's really not concrete, but we get to a point where we actually think it's concrete, and it becomes like a limiting belief and a glass ceiling. And so the lawyer, whatever we tell it, I could tell my brain and have this belief that I'm a great friend, and I can have the absolutely same life, and then I'm pulling from the past and finding incidences that I'm a great friend, and then it's going to, the lawyer is going to further affirm what I'm telling it, and then just make that thought and belief deeper and deeper and deeper. So how does this all relate to our cancer with weight and preoccupation? Is that the lawyer often wants, our brain wants to confirm whatever belief we've given it, and it's not uncommon that we have deep rooted beliefs, and weight is a symptom, or whatever we're struggling with is just a way to confirm those beliefs. For example, I'm not enough. It's a deep core belief that many of us have adopted at some point in our time because we thought it served us. And so when it comes to weight, that can look like a couple of different things. It could look like somebody who's used that belief, I'm not enough, and they focus on every little bit of their food and what they eat and portions and it takes up a lot of brain space because they're like, I'm going to work to be enough. Constantly trying to battle that I am enough but there's this belief that I'm not enough. So there's this constant work in that area. Or it could be something where it's like, oh gosh, I can't chronically on diets, lose weight, gain it back, lose weight, gain it back, and it confirms this belief that I'm not enough. So either way, it's like this way we could be fighting it, or it could be like just confirming it. And either way, it's just a belief that's not true. Because God says we are more than enough. Another one is I'm not safe. Like the gal I mentioned before that had gotten raped and she didn't feel safe. So she added extra insulation as protection. And that made her feel safer. And it was her mind thinking that this was a great way to keep her safe. But it wasn't serving what she wanted in her conscious mind anymore. And then I'm not lovable. So that's another belief that we can have, that our weight, however we manage it or don't manage it, will confirm that. But again, those are all beliefs, and they're all limiting beliefs. And if you've ever been in a room with someone talking about their limiting beliefs, it's super easy to be able to look at, to see people say their beliefs and they're like, yeah, that's not true. So I was actually at an event yesterday and in a room with a few people, and they were mentioning their limiting beliefs. And we all have them, and the first thing is being aware of these limiting beliefs are super powerful. So, one of them was like, I'm too old. The other one was, I'm not enough. The other one was like, to be successful, I need to be ruthless. Another one was, I can't be successful in love and money. And it was easy as we each talked about it that those were just limiting beliefs. But I'll tell you, like, it was easy for us to spot them in everybody else, but our own limiting belief, we were like kind of holding on dearly. We had proof for it. I mean, we had evidence, but it's all the same stuff. Of course we had evidence because we believe it, and our lawyer in our brain is going to find evidence to support it, but it's not true. And we can tell ourselves something that actually serves us and is true. And God says, you are more than enough. You are loved. You are completely lovable. And we're in the image of God. So there's we've got beauty within all of us. And so really focusing on that and changing those limiting beliefs. But our weight is a great way, whether we're preoccupied in one direction or another, is a great way to confirm or fight against these belief systems. And so you can see how our struggle can actually be a way of meeting our needs or serving us. Are you a chronic people pleaser? Do you overgive, overfunction, pretty kind, and you're just tired, or maybe even a little bit resentful? Or are you wondering, like, wow, is this all to life? Is this how it works? Because I kind of feel like I'm going through the motions. Well, that's what the Unravel Notebook is for. It's 61 days to unravel our thinking, beliefs, and live a life intentionally as we connect closer with God, ourselves, and others, so we can be more confident and live brighter in this world. So let's give context to it. So for me, I was 155 pounds 20 years ago. I'm 155 pounds now. 20 years ago, I was in a just destructive relationship, and I thought I was like super fat, and I thought I worked out and I couldn't lose weight, and I was constantly berating myself, and it didn't help that my husband at the time, was very critical about my weight, and he had mentioned that he wasn't as attracted to me because of my weight. And even though that, may have been true for him, it was actually a symptom of a much deeper issue. But that further confirmed this: I'm not enough. I need to work on this more. And so at that point, I did probably all the things I'm talking about. So I used my weight subconsciously to protect myself. And how I did it was, at the time, my husband and I did not have an emotional connection. We had very little physical connection. We didn't have a spiritual connection. And when I'd get a little bit thinner, then I noticed guys looking at me more, and I noticed just more attention. And then if I had a conversation with the guy, which actually in that season I avoided men for the most part, but I had a conversation and they talked about an emotion or something, then I felt very unsafe, because I so lacked in that area, and I was so starving to have some connection with my own husband that it made me super sad. So my subconscious mind was actually using weight to protect myself, because it was just too painful for me to deal with that, see the picture that I was really in. So it was distracting me, it was protecting me. Also, it was also confirming beliefs that I'm not enough. And it was also, helping me avoid feelings. And I was very sad, and I didn't even really know it, to be honest, because I was a very upbeat person and focused on the good, but I was in a very destructive relationship to me. And my preoccupation with weight and my mind cancer was a great distraction to keep me from dealing with real issues and real things. I was also very stressed because I was chronically walking on eggshells. And I'm telling you, it is very challenging to lose weight when you're chronically stressed, because your cortisol is up, or at least lose it in a healthy way. Some people just stop eating and they're going to lose weight, but in a healthy way, because your cortisol is high. So you can tell from my story, I had all of it. And I'm still 155 pounds, the same weight. And yet, because I've done work on myself and loving myself, and I'm in an environment that's positive, is really helpful. My husband finds me beautiful, and that's a good thing that is a very wonderful feeling to have. That I'm kind to my body. It's like it got me through my life, and it's gotten me here, and I've worked to be strong. And I'm not saying, oh yeah, I've arrived. I definitely have not. I don't think we ever really arrive. We just grow 1% at a time and continue to grow. But I'm much more at peace about my weight. I, don't look at myself and just with that self-degrading things, but it's because of the relationship I have with myself that I've chosen to have, to be my own friend, and to have my back, and to treat myself with love and respect, like I would always treat others but did not treat myself. And I would allow others, 20 years ago, that relationship, to treat me with disrespect. But it started with me having to treat myself with that respect. So you can see how this all works together, and I hope my story helps you. So it really does start with the mind. I would, the 3 things to start with is be curious and honest. Is where your struggle with weight, whether it's not eating enough, whether it's not eating well, whatever your preoccupation, where it's trying to lose weight or being mean to yourself, whatever your preoccupation is, whatever the mind cancer's flavor is, what is it doing for you? Is it trying to meet a need that you're not aware of? And I would say that when you invest in yourself to uncover and unravel that, that's the best investment you can make. And that's one reason why I wrote the Unravel Notebook, available on Amazon, is because it's a way to invest in ourselves. There's lots of ways to invest in ourselves. There's counselors, life coaches, there's communities, but there's podcasts and books. Any way you invest in yourself is the best investment. I would say my one regret, which I don't really necessarily believe in regrets, would be that, I didn't seek counseling at that time. And it would have definitely helped me proceed much quicker and faster. And I'm wearing that right now and I'm grateful. So, but it is interesting to look back at that. Also, another thing is changing our words. Changing our words and being aware of our words are huge. So when I do lose weight or want to get to less fat, rather than saying I need to lose weight and tell myself things, I don't say that, because loss in our brains is not a good thing. So I just say I get to slough off excess fat because I'm going to do it because of this. And it's a reason that I like. But also just what I'm telling myself chronically. Am I telling myself loving and accepting things and curious things? Or am I telling myself critical and mean things? And that's what we've talked about a lot, about loving ourselves and what that looks like. So installing the good friend would be the third thing, and just being that supportive, but not the good friend that's like, oh, you're good, you just stay where you're at, girlfriend, you're good, we got your back. We need that, and we need the friend that's also like believes in us, that believes that we can have what we want to have, that we can get to a place we want to get to. And really, I think our goal of being healthy with our mind and our bodies and with loving ourselves is a beautiful goal. And so really just installing that and working towards that. I think in order to have lasting results with any weight loss, weight gain, whatever it be, it's going to be done with like more of a love and acceptance rather than a beat ourselves up and a brain cancer. And there are ways that we can create that slowly, and it's beautiful. But having that high vibration is much better. If you are considering an actual plan, really consider where is your mind at this? How can you support your mind in this? And then know that you're the best expert on your body. And, I have friends that have done lots of different methods, but, interrupting that mind cancer in the way that you think is best for you is a beautiful thing. And it starts with accepting and kindness and curiosity. And community is a plus. So live brighter 1% at a time. I believe in you, and have a great day.